Today we're going to break open the DYU Cycle King 750, see if it's packaged well and comes with everything needed to get riding, and do some initial testing to see what this bike is all about. Like most bikes, the King 750 comes in this large cardboard box. I was surprised at how light this whole package was compared to most e-bikes, but breaking it open revealed very nice, secure padding, so I'd be pretty comfortable getting one of these shipped to me again. The King 750 came mostly assembled with just the front wheel, handlebar, pedals, seat post, and kickstand removed for shipping, all of which was super easy to install with the provided toolkit, and I was happy to see that absolutely no other tools are required. The only minor hiccup we ran across during assembly was the threaded holes for the top pinch bolts on the handlebar clamp were not the cleanest threads, but after carefully starting the bolts by hand, they caught the threads correctly and tightened up just fine. Once the bike was assembled, I gave it a little safety check, put it on the charger, and started riding just a few hours later as the bike's large 960 watt-hour battery came 3/4 charged. The first thing I did was a 10-mile highway descent where I got a feel for this bike's road characteristics at speeds up to 40 miles per hour. It was immediately obvious that the King 750 wants to be nimble and quick to maneuver rather than completely stable, and this is exactly what I'd expect given the bike's relatively short wheelbase and steep steering head angle. Next, I climbed back up that steep 10-mile climb, letting the bike do most of the work to test the hub motor and battery for overheating issues that I've experienced on one of my other bikes. It had absolutely no issues tackling the climb, and by the end of that huge climb, the state of charge indicator was still showing half a charge, which was actually very impressive because the climb I'm talking about is pretty huge. Next, I spent the last 10 miles of the battery blasting around through trails, again letting the bike do the heavy lifting and only lightly pedaling to help it out here and there. So the first charge got me 30 miles, and that was pretty much all of the bike doing the work. So we'll have to do some more testing, but it looks like this thing has a serious battery on it. Overall, the King 750 felt very light in the trails and was very happy to cruise along at my pace. I'm pretty slow when it comes to mountain biking relative to my dirt biking skill, but this bike had me feeling comfortable enough to push my limits. The bike felt solid, nimble, and the fork ate up nearly everything I was throwing at it. The hydraulic brakes made slowing down very easy, which is fantastic because I do a lot of slowing down. And although the Shimano shifter on this thing isn't a paddle shift system like I'd prefer, it did get the job done reasonably well, and I'm not upset at all that they decided to cut costs on that one component, because the rest of the bike really seems to punch outside of its price range, which is the sub $1,500 entry-level category. There's a lot to say about this bike, and I'll get to all of that when I post an in-depth review, but right now I'll just sum it up by saying this is so far the best sub $1,500 e-bike I've ridden yet, especially for off-road. It is a very basic bike, but it feels quite high-end. They eliminated the bells and whistles so that you could just get a very good base platform, and it feels great. I could see this bike being perfectly suitable as an urban commuter, a campground bike, or as an entry-level trail bike.